right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So in this one, I wanted to talk a little bit about the hidden connection between Justin Fields and the New York Jets, right? Because I feel like there's more than meets the eye here. There's kind of this narrative out there, okay, you know what, this is just the Jets being the Jets. They're taking a swing at the quarterback position. If it works out, great, but it's, the Jets are just trying to bridge until 2026, which could very well be the case. But I feel like, based off of the actions that we've seen from this Jets team and based off of the history, the familiarity between two parties involved here with Justin Fields, and we're going to talk about it, maybe there's more to the story. So let's talk about the front office side of things first, right? And I want to focus in on this tweet made by Albert Breer not too long ago. So he says, one piece of context on the Jets' pursuit of Justin Fields. The Broncos were high on Fields in 2021. He'd have been the pick at 9 if Denver had decided to go quarterback. They took Pat Surtain instead, but there was a lot of internal debate over it. Darren Mougey was Denver's director of player personnel. So whenever you're in a position where you need a quarterback and you're looking at the guys coming out of the draft, and you're seriously thinking about taking one in the first round, let alone in the top 10, there is going to be extensive research. They're really going to turn over every stone, make sure that we don't have any lingering questions. And ultimately Denver did go with Surtain, and that was clearly the right pick. Surtain is amazing. I do feel like, with Darren Mougey being a part, again, director of player personnel of that Broncos organization, there is a very, very detailed scouting report on Fields coming out of Ohio State. There is that, sense of familiarity there. Mougey kind of has that backstory with scouting Fields, which I do think is important, right? The highs, the lows, how he projects into the NFL. Now, who knows how Denver's analysis of Fields, maybe changed as his games, as he moved throughout his rookie season with the Chicago Bears and years following. But from that point in time, back in college, there was serious interest there. And I do like how Breer, and I don't know if this has ever been public before, but I do like how Breer pointed out he actually would have been the pick at spot number 9 if Denver had decided to go with a quarterback. And it also makes you ask this question as well: what happens if Surtain wasn't on the board? Would they have gone, who was it? I believe it was J.C. Horn the Carolina Panthers that selected J.C. Horn. What if they went Pat Surtain? Would Denver have gone Horn, or would they have gone with Fields? But again, from that standpoint, you do have that highly detailed backstory with Darren Mougey and Justin Fields. And so one thing I've been doing just kind of in my free time is going back and watching all of Justin Fields' games from a rookie, not the entire game, like the 3-4 hour game, but just the offensive portions and fast forwarding through the defense. And so I'm sitting there watching Fields in his rookie season. It's an early October game, Bears versus Lions. I'm watching it kind of play out. About a quarter of the way through, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, he's actually playing against Aaron Glenn's defense. So I finished that game. The Bears ultimately won the game. And I said, hey, let me pause the chronological order of the Fields games and let me just focus in for a second on the Fields, the Bears versus the Detroit Lions defenses, Aaron Glenn's defenses, because I do feel like there could be something there. And after that first game, there was 5 preceding games. And in those 6 games, Fields was never like elite, throwing for 380 yards and this and that. But he definitely was not bad. I think there was one really, really impressive game that I walked away with like saying, wow, like Fields did a great job. And then there was one clunker, and that was around midway through. The completion percentage was not good. Fields just looked scattershot. He just wasn't completing a lot of passes, and the offense just wasn't moving. But in any case, you're looking at Justin Fields and Aaron Glenn coming from the same division, understanding that Aaron Glenn has game planned for Justin Fields multiple times. He's performed against Justin Fields multiple times. He knows Fields' tendencies as a quarterback, right? There's that kind of familiarity from afar between those two, which kind of just leads you into, okay, what are the actions of this Jets team? We know Mougey and this Jets front office has done work on Justin Fields. The backstory as a prospect. We know Aaron Glenn has coached against him, has prepared against Fields. We do know that there's a history there. And then again, focusing on the actions, what was action number 1? The New York Jets signing Justin Fields on day one of free agency. 2 years, $40 million, $30 million guaranteed, the biggest quarterback contract handed out this offseason outside of Sam Darnold. Right, which, again, like there's multiple quarterbacks on the market here, multiple quarterbacks getting deals, Daniel Jones and whatnot, and they're not looking like Justin Fields' deal. So in essence, the Jets are saying, no, you're our guy. You're our guy. We're going to make it a priority. Day one of legal tampering period, you're a Jet. Here's a big contract. Right? This is not a situation like the New York Giants. Should we trade up for Cam Ward? Do we stick at 3? Do we hope Ward falls to us? Shedeur Sanders, maybe? We'll bring Russell Wilson in. We'll be in the mix for Matt Stafford. What about Aaron Rodgers? Jameis Winston now visit? No, it's a clear-cut decision made by this Jets team. Justin Fields is the guy. Justin Fields is the guy. And again, looking at the backstories of both head coach and GM, you kind of think, okay, that's pretty telling. It's a pretty solid indication of the Jets want Fields. The Jets want him. And they want him for a reason. You're focusing in on Jeremy Fowler of ESPN's latest report regarding how Fields chose the New York Jets. He picked the Jets over the Steelers and the quote-unquote solid contract, but it apparently was not enough to stop Fields from becoming a Jet. My assumption in free agency was that Fields was going to re-sign with Pittsburgh. We had the report come out that Russell Wilson and Arthur Smith didn't really mesh well. We knew that fans and players were a little bit irritated when Fields was benched. Fields looked good for the Steelers early on. Not fantastic, not elite, but he was getting the job done. He wasn't turning the football over. He was winning games against some solid teams. He was doing a lot of really, really good things as a runner, right? Ball carrier. But they make the move. And I was kind of thinking, you know what? Fields is a good fit for that Arthur Smith offense. He knows the terminology. He knows the offense. Fields, you kind of feel like he's constantly churning through. Like there's been different coaches that he's worked with. Eberflus, Luke Getsy, going back to that 2021 rookie season. He was working with Matt Nagy. And then third coaching staff with the Pittsburgh Steelers here. I was kind of thinking, okay, you could probably get him on a cheaper deal, bring him back and say, hey, you're the guy. We kind of made a mistake here with Russ. We don't really want him moving forward. And look, Pittsburgh wanted him. Both teams apparently had solid offers out on the table, and Fields picks New York. I don't think he's going to pick New York if he's worried about getting benched, if he's worried about getting undermined. I think he's picking New York, I'm going to assume, because Darren Mougey and Aaron Glenn made it a point, we want you. We like you. I've coached against you. I've prepared against you. Mougey has scouted you very, very thoroughly. Here's a big contract. We'll make it happen on day one, and let's move forward. So, again, I do think there's maybe more than meets the eye than just the typical, hey, he's our bridge. We'll figure it out in 2026. Now, look, is there a chance that Justin Fields flames out? Yeah. But is there a chance that Justin Fields can turn into the Jets franchise quarterback? I know that's a big statement. That's a big question. But the answer is yes. The potential is there. If the Jets can figure out right tackle, I'll say this. Add in one or two more playmakers. This is going to be the best, from a names on paper, talent on paper standpoint, the best offense that Fields has been a part of. Again, maybe we get a Tyler Warren. Maybe we get a Membu at right tackle. Maybe we draft, another day one offensive contributor in round 2. Is there a potential trade in the works, right? Is there going to be a random veteran that gets cut in training camp that the Jets can maybe pull in as a late summer addition? So personally, I am really, really excited to see how this Jets offense looks. Tanner Ingstrand, Aaron Glenn, Justin Fields, right? New life, new chapter. It feels like the Jets are shifting away from the, hey, look at us. We deserve to be talked about. Why aren't we being talked about positively? Like that kind of mindset, to more so like put your head down and work. We're going to be a tough physical football team that fights tooth and nail from start to finish, and we're going to scratch and claw our way to victories. But there's kind of like this humble approach. Compared to like in recent years with, the Saleh-led teams and even Joe Douglas too, for that matter. Like there was a sense of like this, we're smarter than everyone else. And I didn't necessarily like that as a fan. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, go Jets.